Welcome to Red Earth Conversations. I'm Chelsey Curry, the Executive Director of Red Earth. Today, I'm joined by emerging artist Georgia Harjo. As an artist, cultural ambassador, student, and leader, Georgia is making an impact both on and off the canvas. Today, we'll learn more about her inspiring story. Red Earth Conversations is made possible through the support of Allied Arts. Their commitment to arts and cultural organizations help us share Native voices and stories with audiences across Oklahoma and beyond. Additional support is provided by the UPS store number 3331 on North May. Thank you for helping us bring Red Earth Conversations to life.
So my name is Chelsey Curry with Red Earth, and we are here talking to Georgia. She is one of our emerging artists this year, along with Sarah. We're really excited to have two wonderful emerging artists. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Estongo, Georgia Alang Harjo, Jomajukados. Y'all, my name is Georgia Alang Harjo. I am Muscogee Creek, Choctaw, Seminole, and Cheyenne. I am 19 years old, currently a freshman at OU, and I'm very grateful and humbled to be chosen as one of this year's emerging artists.
Wonderful. I'm so excited to have you not only here today as emerging artist, but we've really got to see you grow at Red Earth through the youth art competition that we do every year. Did you start that at 9? Did you start coming in? When did you start?
I believe I started at 15.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So, I mean, your artwork has been so incredible and so diverse. I don't think there's anything that you haven't tried that hasn't been really beautiful and amazing. So, do you want to talk a little bit about when you started with your artwork? What was the thing that really sparked that? If you were really starting around 15?
Yeah, I've kind of done my art my whole life, just in different forms. My art has always really been influenced by my family. Originally, it just started out with drawing, sketching, and then it moved into painting. A lot of that was influenced by my brother. He would make these little stories and comics, just tell what was in our mind and our ideas. But it grew from that more when I went to middle school and became surrounded by Native artists and seeing the way their culture was influenced through their work. And as I started to learn more stories, ways of life, just things that we used to follow and that we still follow nowadays, it made its way into my artwork. And the support of my mom has also really influenced me to continue making work like that.
Oh, I love that. So, really drawn from your heritage and being around other Native artists really inspired you, which I hear a lot. I mean, even coming to the festivals and all of that, being able to connect with other artists and get that is something that I feel like a lot of people really love and enjoy. So I'm so glad that started you on that journey. Was there anybody who really taught you in your family or just you working with your brother?
My mom always kind of tells me it seems like I'm a self-taught artist. She always tells me she doesn't know where I got it from. There's artists in my family, like my grandparents. My grandpa was a flute maker and a painter. My grandmother, she sewed, and my mom beaded. But I was never straight up taught it. It's kind of something we've all, well, the Native artwork, beading specifically, we came back into when I started creating culturally influenced work. My mom had stopped beating when I was younger because I was a baby, I would get into her stuff.
She says, okay, we're putting the seed beads away for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when I showed an interest in it specifically, she came and did it with me. And it's interesting because the way that beading used to be done is very different compared to nowadays. You want to use pellet, back then you just use leather or cloth. But we kind of worked together and learned it together. And really, she's probably been the one who supported me the most in all my work. This piece that I'm wearing today is based on my Southeastern culture. So we do stock dance, which is our ceremony, and it's also social nowadays in some aspects as well. It was actually made for my AP art class I took senior year. So that's kind of a win-win. I get an awesome piece to wear and represent my culture, and I also like get to use this in my homework.
And you get an A plus too. It's a win-win. I love that.
It's based on the gorget or gorget, which was traded by European and settlers at the time to our Southeastern people. Usually it'd be silver, but a lot of times in our traditional work, shell carvings and things like that, we would also wear necklaces. So it was really an interesting cultural crossovers. So usually with them being shell or silver, it was interesting to take that idea and make it beadwork and represent our soft dance this way. I have a display in my mind of what I want it to be like. A lot of times you have to do it in the right mindset. That is something my family always taught me too. So it's a lot of pick it up, put it down, take your time and make sure it goes all right because you want every intention with it to be your best one.
Yeah.
This one, I probably just doing the pick it up, put it down, spent 2 weeks working on it.
Yeah, I've had that as well, where you have to only work on it when you're putting those good intentions and good thoughts into it. So it does take a lot longer.
I do paint now. That did start a lot more in middle school as well. I remember I first didn't paint a lot. I was always drawing in classes, and the mom of a friend of mine wanted to commission me for some work. She wanted a native influenced Grogu Baby Yoda, you know?
Yes.
And also a fancy shawl dancer. So that was kind of my first ever experience, like painting in that way. And over time, it's really developed my style, and then learning new techniques, looking at other artists and seeing how they do things. And it's really just been a lot of growth. I always wish I could paint more, but I feel like maybe I do at least 2 big projects a year painting wise.
Okay. And I've definitely seen over the last few years with your paintings, I can always tell it's yours. You've got the style that I'm like, that's a Georgia piece. I see it. Okay, so you brought this beautiful bandolier bag with you today. Do you want to tell me something about it?
So the bandolier bag is something from our Southeastern people. This one specifically is based on Muscogee culture and Muscogee designs. Traditionally, they were obtained through trade with settlers. Usually settlers would carry ammunition and gunpowder in them, but when they're given to Muscogee people, they would carry medicine or tools they would need on their journeys. Particularly, they were given to our chiefs. They would always be adorned with Southeastern style beadwork, and that looks a lot different from this one here today. This one is more modern, being used Pelham first before it was sewn on. But the bag itself and all of the beadwork on the front and these were made by me, but it is a collaborative piece. So these wind symbols on the strap, there's 6 of them, 3 on each side, were actually made by different Indigenous women in my life. And so it kind of goes with that idea of these bags are what chiefs carried on their journeys around. This is the strength of the women who are in my life. I carry them with me. That's something I also need.
I love that. Having your family and those people who care and love you with you all the time in that way. And so this centerpiece here, do you want to tell me some more about that? I see that take of the wind symbols, but there's definitely more happening here.
Yeah, so these symbols are all, like I mentioned, Southeastern symbols found on a lot of different types of shell carvings or etchings, things like that. I'm doing a little bit of research that I could find, like this one here originally was on one of those, kind of like I mentioned, I believe shell gorgets. And it's got a few different meanings, but it's the 4-headed woodpecker and the 4 winds. The winds are very prevalent throughout our culture, especially in our creation story. That was the first clan that came to be. That's my clan, actually. But it kind of, from my understanding, it reminds me of our ceremonial grounds, particularly the fire. When you put that cross in the middle of the fire, it makes it, the sun and the fire connects. It's not just the sun. It represents what we dance around. It represents our ceremony and then our way of life and our new year.
Well, that's beautiful and brings your heritage into it so much as well. And then the pieces on the bottom that you have here, the little silvers, they're these cuts.
Yeah, so looking at past bags, actually, you would typically put these little tassel guys on the bottom, maybe with some beads. So it's a little bit more of a contemporary take, doing just all beads. The idea was influenced by my mom, kind of. We talked about when I was making the bag, I wanted it to make sound. I wanted to kind of jingle when I walk, kind of reminiscent of that modern culture, you know. You go to a car and you hear all the cones,
Yes.
the jingles, the bells, things like that. I wanted to share that in this too because I am multicultural. But I just really like the idea of hearing it as I walk.
It is really pretty. I love hearing that. Yeah, so I think you did a great job of bringing that modern touch to our heritage through this. And I think you do that a lot in your artwork overall, that you are finding ways to express your heritage through your art. Are there other examples you feel like that you want to talk about?
definitely exploring the connection between time, tradition, modernity, and just connecting that with our culture. These last few paintings I've made have been kind of reflections. I even have a piece titled Reflections, but just looking at how it connects across time between our past and our present, it really has influenced the way that I make art and also the way that I see the world now compared to back then, how we've grown, the positive changes made, some of the negatives, and then how we can kind of just come together and really move forward in that. And I hope I can show that through my artwork so that we can all kind of unite together.
Well, that's wonderful. So when you're looking at bringing in your different tribal inspirations to your pieces, where do you go to look for that? Are you looking at older like bandolier bags? Are you talking to people? How are you finding that knowledge?
It really depends on what I'm doing.
That's fair.
There's many different mediums, and then I come from 4 different tribes. I'm not gonna say lucky, but I guess lucky that many of them my tribes, 3 of them at least, come from the southeastern region of the United States. So some of those cultures kind of cross over, especially with them coming from the same language family, the same region. There's a lot of connections that are similar, and sometimes it's always interesting to me learning about the things that are the same, but they have different meanings across different tribes. The thing that I do is I try to do my best to research, look at museums and their archives, their pieces, any information I can find about them, maybe what they meant, or if there's any oral tradition, anything people have been told through elders about these pieces or about the meanings behind these symbols or what they've learned on their own. I really love looking in books. Now we have a Muscogee Nation Resource Center here in the city, particularly with our tribe. I love to go. They have this little library with cultural books. And while my mom's at her elder lunches, I'll sit in there and read them. And I'll just take in these stories. There's also a book on symbols, traditional pottery, shell etchings, things like that. It's really just a lot of that care and knowledge of that research and my passion as well. I am a little nerdy about it, but I love getting to share it in this way.
Yeah, that's great. I asked because we do have a lot of people that maybe aren't as connected with their heritage. So that's a really great way for them to find that connection. So just a little off your art, but I definitely want to, bring it up. You not only are involved in the tribes with your artwork, but also as a princess too.
So I am currently the 2026-2027 Miss Indian OU. So it's really been a great experience running for that title. I'm newly crowned. It was just in April, happened at our OU powwow. And with every princess title, there is kind of a step you have to take. You have to be a leader. You have to decide, I'm going to push past this fear, whether it's a public speaking, whether it's a displaying myself, or whether it's showing what I know and what I don't know. It's stepping up and wanting to serve your people in a way. It's being a good representative and a good ambassador. Princesses usually go to different events, and their whole job is to be there for their people, represent their tribe or their family or whatever their organization may be, and also do good in the community, help out, volunteer whenever they can, serve our elders, deliver plates to our elders. It's a lot of work besides from just a crown and a banner. It's a lot of work preparing for it too. My research for my artwork has really helped me in the sense that it's helped me grow to be a better woman, an Indigenous woman, understanding my tribe's language, history, some of the different traditions that they may have so that I can be a good representative.
Past the art, past being our 2026 princess for that as well. You are also going to college. So busy. You want to tell us a little bit about your plans, your goals?
Yeah, I have been very busy with all of it, working on my artwork, going to college, and running for Miss OU. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing right now is my education, and that is something my mom has always taught me. Focus on that. It'll be my future. It'll be how I can do what I want to do. And what I really want to do is help Native people. I have been fortunate throughout high school to have been supported by so many different mentors, teachers, artists, elders, people in the community, and being a part of programs like Arts Space and Entitled, their mentorship and being involved with Red Earth as a youth artist. And it's really just shown me there's so much support now for our needed youth and people in general. I just want to help contribute to that mission. So I am currently pursuing a Bachelor's of Arts in Public and Nonprofit Administration, particularly in nonprofit work. I want to hopefully work with Native nonprofit, work in the community, and be making an active effort to make great things happen. And my dream one day is to make my own nonprofit to benefit needed youth.
You are inspiring all around, Georgia. You're amazing. For Red Earth, for the competition, are you working on any pieces for that?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay, exciting.
I am just really excited for this opportunity, being someone who had seen Red Earth for many years in her youth and being involved with the youth art competition really inspired me to keep going and learn new things and make new things and even learn more about my culture so that I could share and try and be involved with that opportunity. So it's really been a stepping stone, I think, in my journey as an artist and as a person growing into a young adult. It's really humbling, and I'm really grateful to have been chosen as the emerging artist. I remember I was told to set a goal at the beginning of college, and my goal was actually applying for emerging artist and trying my best, seeing if I could get it. And now that I achieved that goal, I'm very proud and very, very happy and honored for this position.
You have done some other smaller art markets, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so for you, that looked more like a small table with some beadwork. What were you showing at those ones?
At those ones, it was primarily powwows and art markets, things like that. And I was always with my mom. We always, like I mentioned before, created artwork together, but it was always different beadwork mostly, and sometimes my artwork as prints with things like earrings, medallion necklaces, maybe badge reels, just things anyone could grab.
Yeah, great.
This network.
Yeah. So this is your first big art market indoors for the festival. How do you feel about it? Are you nervous? Are you excited about a particular part of it?
Yeah, I am kind of all of the above. I am nervous. I'm excited. I'm ready. I really can't wait to see how it's going to go, especially with it being at the Oklahoma City Convention Center this year. That'll be a little different than the past ones that I've seen. I always remember walking around and just seeing all the different artists and thinking they look so professional. And I'm really used to doing the regular powwow setup, as you mentioned, the table, the tablecloths, just showing out our artwork. And now getting to display it in this way is a little bit of a different step for me. My mom has helped me kind of think through, how do I want to share my art with the world, and I'm thinking back on past rather seen artists, they might have a whole print rack, or people in textiles may have, a clothing rack with all their work out. And it's just really been an experience, changing out some things, trying something new. I'm really excited to show all my stuff and how it's going to look. And I just can't wait for you to see it.
Are there any artists you are excited to be able to speak to or learn from?
That's a funny question because I do already know some of the artists that are there. So I'm always excited to speak to them. I'm always inspired by their work. I kind of just learn from them in my own time, maybe ask them questions, or whenever I see them at different events, or maybe going to their house sometimes. I know in particular, two that I look up to and inspired by is Adrian Redbird and Melissa Freeman. I love looking at Adrian's paintings, his artwork, just how he conveys the world in them, between the lighting, the depth, the color, and then the culture and the meaning behind each one really inspires me. I'd like to maybe one day get on his level. It's really amazing.
And that would be cool. You definitely have that inspiration from the culture. And he does the beautiful beadwork as well.
Yes,
the one at the festival before.
Oh, that was a dream. If I could do that one day, that'd be amazing.
Well, that's awesome. And then for those who don't know Melissa, she is a Choctaw artist that does the clothing, which we really haven't talked about, the full regalia pieces that you also do that you're working on. You want to talk some about that too?
Yes, actually. When I remember when I was applying for emerging artists, I could not pick one medium. I did regalia clothing, beadwork, painting, all of it. But with my regalia in particular, I had first started vending at powwows because I wanted to buy or commission my own regalia. And it got to the point where I was just learning so much, making it to sell it. I got to where I could make my own. So I didn't need that anymore.
Yeah, but actually,
Yeah. It was a lot of work, just learning and trial and error and trying new things. But I've been making all my own Muscogee dresses, my Cheyenne dresses for a few years now, and I have quite a bit of a collection grown. I can't wait to show my work at Ritter's, and I will be displaying a new one that I did make. Hopefully, I would like to make at least one for sale, but we'll see how it goes.
yeah. You can always put, open to commissions.
Yeah.
Do you have this? This is very expensive because it's mine. So I'll make you your own. Yes. Okay. So we talked about the clothing, talked about, some of your bags, your beadwork. Is there any other art forms we haven't touched on? Maybe printmaking? You did bring up art space before.
Yeah, printmaking is something that was definitely new to me. I'd never even heard of it before, which is funny because, so much of our stuff comes from printmaking, or it started from that a long time ago. It was really a great opportunity to be in that space at high school, to be supported by so many different artists in the community and just learning new techniques. I really loved doing the wood carving board, even though I did make myself quite a few times.
It's a learning curve.
Yes. There is one I'm hoping to work on this summer, actually, and I've been collecting a few of them for a while. I need to clean them, but it's not exactly a name for it other than turtle shell bag making.
Okay.
Yeah, so a part of my powwow regalia, you always have, a fan, you have a purse, but being a Southeastern person, I wanted to relate that culture into that realm as well. So I carry a turtle purse, and it's made out of a shell with leather, and it's just a bag I hold. I carry my gourd dance money in it. And that shell originally came from my mother. She got from her father. And so it has some history and some years in it. I painted it. I drilled the holes in it with my Dremel, and that was a learning experience. So I'm hoping to make some of those available as well so that we can share that, our Southeastern people can have these things that aren't that easy to obtain.
Yes, especially at the turtle shell too. So how do you, how do you honor the turtle? What does it mean to you for the turtle? Not everybody might know that's listening.
Yeah, so particularly in Muscogee culture, in our creation story, we emerged from the underworld, the water world down below, and came up to the earth on the back of a turtle shell. So there's a whole story, but many different animals like the crawfish tried, but they couldn't break through. And then the female turtle in particular took our people on the back of her shell and brought us to the surface. So we do honor that and honor her. Also in our clothing, the ruffles over in her dress is because of the ruffle that the female turtle on her shell.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that one. That's really cool. And does your bag have fringes from the bottom of the turtle? I've seen those with the fringes on the bottom too. Yes. Okay. Well, I'm excited to see how that goes for you, making the turtles, the turtle bags, more difficult than some of the other things you've done. Okay.
Definitely more difficult.
Okay. That sounds something that, like, being careful not to break the shell with that Dremel, to try to put the holes in it. Yeah. A lot of stress.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite art style out of all the things you've done? I know it can be hard to pick because you do so much, but something that you find you gravitate towards, or you always kind of jumping from one art style to another to be able to express the idea that you have in your head?
That is hard because I always feel like I am doing that jump. Depending on what I'm wanting to do, depending on my time, I don't think I really can pick just one because each one has their own meaning to me and their own feeling that they invoke in me.
Which totally makes sense because each one's going to allow you to bring out your idea in a different way as well. For any of the youth out there, because so many people do look up to you, what would you tell them for their journey in their art?
I would tell them, don't be afraid. And that's really hard because as a young person, there's so many things that can be said to you encouraging, and sometimes even without intending that, discouraging. Try your best to not be afraid. Believe in yourself. I didn't always know all the things that I do, and I started out in youth art, but I was passionate, I was curious, and I was inspired. I had a great support system. And even if you may not have that within yourself. Support yourself. Don't be afraid. Put yourself out there and try your best to learn. Try your best to share what you love with the world.
That's perfect, because truly just try, right? You can't succeed if you don't try.
Exactly.
Thank you, Georgia, for sharing your story with us today and your journey. We're really excited to have you at the festival. And we'd like to thank Allied Arts for sponsoring our podcast and for sponsoring Red Earth. You are such a great supporter, and we couldn't do this without you.
Mado for tuning in to Red Earth Conversations. Be sure to join us next week as we sit down with Chickasaw artist Kate Wiley to learn a little bit more about her and her process. If you would like to learn more about the Red Earth Festival or Red Earth in general, please be sure to visit us at www.redearth.org.